Hello and welcome to Grand Park. Colts had their second day of practice today. They're still they're still fairly short practices. It's about 16 snaps for each quarterback right now. Kind of a day where there wasn't a ton that stood out. A lot of mixed results from both guys.
Very much so. I mean, yesterday was pretty mixed too, but I felt like yesterday there were, one or two more highlights than today. There were some decent scramble throws, I thought, from both of them along the sidelines, but some bad misses too. I mean, there was one play where Daniel Jones just sailed the ball way over Josh Downs' head. That was some of the stuff that Anthony Richardson dealt with last year. And then a play where Anthony Richardson just lofted a ball deep and easy interception for Juju Brent. So it wasn't exactly a banner day, but it's also day two.
Yeah, underthrow from Richardson, which we're not really used to seeing. I'll give you my play of the day right now. Play of the day for me, Daniel Jones there was a lot of RPO today. On an RPO rolling to the right, the play is designed on those bootlegs to go to the short route where they had Josh Downs. That was covered. Wish I could tell you who the defender was that made the play on that. He had two guys chasing him. He was able to get the ball to Alec Pierce about 10 yards down the field and get his feet in. That was a really good throw, the kind of throw you're going to have to make when something's going wrong. I think that's my play of the day. Outside of that, like you said, some accuracy issues from both of them. Yeah, just kind of an uneven day. I think one thing that sticks out, though, from the other side of the ball, a lot more contesting of passes this year. A lot more pass breakups through the first 2 days than we're used to seeing. And I think a lot of that, some of that's Lou Anarumo. I think more of that is just it's a much more talented defensive backfield than it has been in the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah. More talented, more experienced, too. So there's just a certain confidence that guys like Travaris Ward and Cam Bynum can play with that the guys that they were throwing out there last year couldn't. They were kind of head spinning. They were just trying to hang on last year. These guys are kind of bringing the fight. That's Lou Anarumo's defense in a way. But it's interesting. It shows a lot about the talent, too, because the guys will often say playing in man coverage makes it harder to make the plays on the ball and make those jumps. But when that's why you pay up for Travaris Ward, Cam Bynum, is those are the guys who can kind of do it all, and we're just getting glimpses so far, but it's been impressive.
Play of the day for you?
I'm going to have to go. There was a throw from Anthony Richardson to Michael Pittman Jr. that was just a nice throw and catch connection in traffic. So it was sort of like a sort of deep dig or maybe intermediate dig route. So very sharp throw from Richardson between two targets, and then Pittman catching it and securing it, before what would have been a big hit in a game. I just thought was pretty smooth.
Colts are rolling. We got another day tomorrow. We'll be back out here. I'm Joel Erickson. This is Nate Atkins for Indy Star.
You are unbothered by the seat, aren't you?
I live in the Philippines. We're good.
Oh.
This is nothing.
Well, what's it been like out here for you with Lou's new defense? Like, you're new here, but everybody's learning the defense.
Yeah, I was going to say, it makes me feel like less of a new guy when we have a new defense that we're all learning at the same time, so I don't feel like I'm behind at all. Next step for me is just getting as close as possible to my teammates and getting to know everybody, even beyond football, know them off the field. But for me, just going into this new stage, I'm excited for it, just being able to learn from Lou and learn another defense. I think it's so cool over the course of my career, being able to learn from so many different coordinators. Had one my rookie year, another one my second year, then had same coordinator for my third and fourth season. So now going to my fifth year, having another coordinator, I just think being able to add so much knowledge. Some people might see it as a bad thing, never staying in one defense for your whole career, but for me, I see it as something cool of being able to learn so many different things from so many great coaches. I've had great coaches in the past, so now learning from Lou, I'm excited for that.
Lou talks about how he feels like he can lean on you and Mooney, just all your experience, the ways you played. Is there a challenge to being the new guys doing that, or how do you kind of come in here and establish that kind of voice?
I just think just by example, first and foremost, showing that you know the ins and outs of the defense, so people trust you with making certain calls and trust you with just doing certain things on the field. Then even beyond that, just being able to be trusted by my teammates. If I say something as a leader, they'll follow. Even if we're all wrong, we're all going to be on the same page. And I think that comes from communication. Me as a safety, I have to be the quarterback of the defense. So that's something I'm confident in, of knowing Coach Lou's system and being able to, be close with Coach Lou to be able to understand his mindset and why he's calling certain plays. And then I can be able to bring that same attitude and same mindset to the rest of the players. So we're all on the same page where everybody's playing as one.
Sorry, you guys just got here, but do you have a sense of just what it's going to be like to play with an all-pro like Mooney, to have that as one of those outside spots?
Yeah, I just think I know that regardless of where he is, the receiver he's going against is going to be eliminated. And even beyond that, with just the brains of the defense, we're not going to be in man coverage every single play, being able to be in zones and be able to just have somebody that has that experience. And for me to learn from, I'm only in year 5. I know I'm considered a vet, but we have Kenny Moore, we have Mooney out there that have way more years in the NFL than me. So I'm still here trying to learn from them also, and that's the biggest thing that I'm really taking pride in, is being able to come in here and I want to be a leader, but first and foremost I have to be a good follower.
What is the way that Lou maybe disguises his coverages and the way that he deploys you guys in the back end? What does that challenge you guys to do as a second?
I just think the way that he makes us disguise and just encourages us to do so is to just really make it make sense. As far as if we don't want to show the offense the same coverage that we're going to end up in, but also we don't want to do the opposite every time, because they know every time they line up in too high, they'll go to one. So really just being able to make everything look the same, and you can run anything out of any look. That's always a plus, but it's only day 2 out here, so we're not doing too much crazy stuff yet, but we know, especially once we get into preseason time and we start, game planning, we're going to have a plan for every single thing and knowing, like, who's going to be the guys to disguise, what are we going to disguise into what, but our goal is to never make it easy for a quarterback.
How important is it just early in training camp right now to kind of get that baseline communication down, the baseline fundamentals, so you can stack on it and build what you were just talking about?
Yeah, I think this is the most important time, just building that foundation. Every single year you go back and you look, okay, what did we do during training camp, and what are our rules that we did during training camp? Because every single game plan, we're going to have certain calls in, and we're going to be like, okay, training camp rules. And we have to go back to our foundation. Then sometimes we might have the same exact play call, but it's like, okay, but our rules are different than what we did in training camp. So we just have to rely on everything that we build now is going to be the building block on the rest of the year. We're always going to have to reference back to the stuff we learned in these 3 weeks of training camp.
What was your training like leading up to camp? I mean, you say you live in the Philippines, so you do a lot of training over there. Are the resources any different?
No, the resources out there from where I live in the Philippines, in Manila, there's an amazing facility called Inspire Sports Academy where they have all the national athletes train there for whatever sport. So we got the field, weight room, everything, a pool. So really my resources out there are super deep. But on top of that, having players that I'm coaching and training with out there that are, trying to make the national team in the flag football game. So for me, I'm able to get a look and have like a real life scout team every single day. So some years I'm bringing play cards out there and having them run plays so I can work on my eyes in certain coverages, and so it's really cool being able to be out there and with players that it's their dream to work out with NFL players, and so they're training hard trying to just keep up with me, but they're at the end of the day they're pushing me, so it's cool being able to train out there with the great resources that we have at the facility, but also be able to live somewhere where it's hot and humid. So I come back in this heat, I'm wearing sweats and a hoodie and I'm chilling. So it's good.
Cam, I know you're on the other side of the ball, but what's it been like going up against rookie Tyler Warren?
Yeah, he's you could tell he's going to be really good. He's one of those guys that if you didn't tell me that he just got drafted, I wouldn't know. He operates as a veteran. He can do a lot. Obviously, we haven't been in pads yet, but I can tell he can block just by his footwork and just the intent that he has, but also his route running and yards after the catch is going to be elite, and I can tell that from him now. So it's cool being able to go against him, and being able to go against him in practice is going to prepare us to go against any tight end in the game.
We saw a couple throws he had to adjust to today, but just the focus and his ability to make catches when the ball's not necessarily in like the exact spot it's supposed to be.
Yeah, looking at him for the draft, something we thought was a real strength of his was his hands, his ability to focus, concentrate, make those tough catches. He's a very uniquely talented, uniquely skilled young man, and that's something that he's done really, really well. At the same time, we're still coaching him on a lot of different finer points of understanding sort of how those windows close tightly in the NFL and how you got to be great at that. You can't relax even for 1 second. He's like I said, uniquely physically talented and really, really good at those types of things. And, that's what you need in this league. Coverage is going to be tight. The passes are going to have to be in different areas. You're going to have to make some of those tough, strong-handed catches and really focus on finishing those things. He's had a nice start, had a nice day at it today, and we'll give him plenty more reps, I'm sure.
How good of a challenge is it to go against Lou's defense when you're evaluating these two quarterbacks and making decisions?
Yeah, it's good. We're facing a lot of tight coverage out there at receiver. They're pressing up. They're running tightly with our receivers, which makes the quarterbacks really have to deliver the ball exactly where they want to, because a lot of times that DB is right in position to make a play if you don't throw the ball accurately. So it's been really good from that standpoint. Schematically, we're a couple of installations in. We've got a little bit of the scheme in, but more of it's coming, which means more of it's coming from Lou and those guys on defense too. So we're going to have a bunch of different looks, different blitzes, different fronts coming at us. I'm sure you'll see it here soon. We're trying to get ready for it here soon. So all that stuff makes you better, right? It's that old iron sharpens iron type of thought process. But the more varied looks we can get, the tighter coverage looks we can get, it's going to be better for all of us, but really good for the quarterbacks and the receivers.
Does that force the quarterbacks to maybe be a little more on it in terms of the protection schemes?
It does. I mean, it's the entire protection unit, which oftentimes in this league is O-line, running back, quarterback. Different guys are making different decisions within how you want to do your protections. But, yeah, those centers up front, that offensive line up front, the quarterbacks and the running backs all have to be really, really tuned in. Every training camp you go against your own defense, you have to set a sort of training camp rules, and you get to work, and we have these million-play walkthroughs back there where they're bringing every blitz they can draw up, and we have to really work through that. We have to be sharp at the center position, but we have to be really sharp quarterback also. That's right.
When you're going through training camp, like during a game week, if there's a guy like Ward out there, maybe you're like, hey, know where he is, and maybe just be a little, maybe don't throw it over there. In training camp, you tell the quarterbacks, like, maybe take that a little bit out of your head a little bit? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we're teaching and installing plays. We're getting ready to run our plays ourselves. So a lot of times, you got this set of plays that you're learning, teaching, installing. The guys are going to go run them. We're not going to specialize who's where a lot of times. Now, at quarterback, a big part of playing quarterback is evaluating opportunities. Am I going to throw that? Am I not going to throw that? Sometimes within a pass play, we might have a one-on-one opportunity, and they have to make a decision. Am I going to work that, or am I going to work this three-man scheme over here? They're going to take that into account. You're not going to stop those guys from taking that into account because they want to get completions, make big plays, have success, all that. But within the grand scheme of things, we are running our offense and getting it installed and getting it taught. We're trying to let all our guys sort of run all the routes. It's a great time of year to see who's best at what route and really give everybody a fair shake at it. Sometimes you get into the season, you really focus on specialty things for different guys that they do really, really well. This time of year, we try to sort of let everybody get their reps at everything and see how it falls. So, yeah, we'll throw the ball at whoever, and but as you go, those quarterbacks sort of start figuring that out, and they start sort of maneuvering at different areas.
Jim Bob, now that you've had a chance to work with Tyler for a bit, does he remind you of any other tight end in this league?
I hate to play the remind you game. He's so, he's a young player, and we haven't even seen him in pads, which I think is going to be a real strength of his. I think when he gets to play football in pads, the extra elements of his game are really going to come alive. Right now, we talk about it every year in this setting. Offensive line, running back, tight end, in those physical sort of situations, you don't really get to work every aspect of what you're going to end up doing on Sundays. But here in a few days we will, and I think Tyler Warren, that's going to really, really help him. I'll hold away from the comparison game, but we're excited about his development. We're excited about the direction he's headed. He's working really hard. We're going to need to keep that going.
How do you coach up an instance of, like, today Anthony's interception? Probably wasn't the wrong read, but it was just the throw wasn't necessarily there. Do you have to spend much time on something like that? Yeah,
we'll go back and talk about it. Honestly, he came up to me just a couple minutes before I got over here, and he was asking me about that exact play, and we sort of talked it through. We worked a new motion on the play, and we were having to work through how that looks from his standpoint. It's the time of camp where it's very important that we protect the ball in our offense, but as a quarterback, you got to go work different throws. You got to go sort of be aggressive from time to time. We'll work with those guys on when it's time to dial it back or when maybe a different decision should be made, or you could put the ball in a different part of the receiver's body. That's classic early training camp stuff that we'll keep working through. Anthony's talking through it with us. He'll learn from it and get better. These things will happen, and we'll clean them up and get going.
Are mistakes something that you look forward to as a coach because they can be teaching points?
A little bit, yeah. You're not supposed to say that, but I just did. A little bit, absolutely. That's a great sort of understanding. We look to put our guys in positions where they have to grow. To do that, you have to make everything a little bit harder. So sometimes you might know that a defensive look is not ideal for a certain play. Well, gosh, this is not the coverage we want. Or, man, this blitz is going to be tough on this run play. But let's see how our guys handle it. Sometimes we handle it well, and there's growth from the players. Sometimes we don't, and we have to teach off of that. You don't want to have a mistake every single play, and you're teaching from a practice full of mistakes. But, yeah, if you have a perfect practice, you're probably not pushing your guys hard enough to improve. It's a great time of year to improve. So we do look forward to some of those things. It gives us something to coach, which hopefully keeps us around a little bit.
For the first couple of days, the pass defense looks like it's pretty good. It's been harassing the ball and everything. Is there anything beyond that you're looking for so far, or have they been kind of hitting your goals?
I think it's a good start. Only 2 days into it, but we're always going to emphasize the fundamentals of playing with leverage and being tight in coverage, and the guys are starting to get a feel for it and matching routes pretty good so far.
Justin, what do you look for?
Justin's been getting a lot of opportunities to get the first team reps. What have you seen from him from the spring up until now that had earned him that role?
Well, I think it's we've talked about. Shane talks about it. Great competition. The best guys are going to play. He had a good spring. So he's coming in. He's been, again, sticky in coverage, as we mentioned, and again, a long way to go, but he's shown some flashes.
What tells you in your eyes that you're making where you need to be at this point in a week and in 2 weeks from the defense?
Yeah, I just think it's such a heavy install at this point. This part of camp, we're just starting, so that it doesn't just keep building on top of the guys. If they're able to handle it and continue to execute the fundamentals, if we have to back off a little bit so that they're grasping it fully. But the good news is we kind of picked up where we left off in the spring, and the guys came in with a great understanding of everything. So I'm happy where we're at after 2 days.
The fact that you've got new people, Cam and Ward and the draft pick, does that not really matter because it's a new scheme and everybody's starting from ground zero?
I think so. I just think you're bringing in two veteran guys that have played a lot of football in a number of different schemes, and they can say, hey, this is the same as I used to call this, or equate it to something else they have done in the past. So anytime you're bringing in quality veteran players like those two guys, it just helps the whole group.
With the veterans, including Mooney and Buck and guys like that, have said, Lou doesn't care who you are. He will get into your ass, basically. And that's their words. Is that just been a long philosophy of yours that you treat everybody the same? How do you go about it?
Always, because you want to make sure that everybody has an understanding of what we're looking for from coaches and what the coaches are looking for from the players, and vice versa. But yeah, I've always been brought up that way. That hey, whether you're the 4-year starter in college or a freshman, or here in the NFL, a 10-year vet or a rookie, everybody's held to the same standards because we're going to be out there on Sundays playing together, and I think they appreciate when there's no sacred cows, as to say, where you're just really on the guys in a positive way to get better, and it's never ever personal. It's just business. I think that was in a great movie one time.
What does accountability look like for a guy who's been to a Pro Bowl or a 10-year vet or something like that?
Well, we always talk to the guys about being consistent, kind of being a flat line. We don't want a lot of ups and downs, and if we can count on you, we know what we're going to get from you. Again, rookie, older guy, we're just looking for that from everybody. And then what we ask from the older guys is just a veteran leadership and them kind of taking ownership of the group. And kind of pushing the group in the right direction.
What about Wally allows you to work him both inside and outside within this defense?
Well, he's a smart kid. He did a number of different things in Minnesota. He's got a good football mind. He's got that skill set where, his body type is similar to, an inside-outside guy. So he's got really good quickness along with long speed. So I like the ability of him to do both.
Mooney, when you have an outside corner that's just as established as he is, and you kind of know what you're getting, what does that kind of do for you in terms of, you're not doing it out here so much, but just what does it open up in terms of either creativity or just the structure to have a guy like that at that spot?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some really good ones along my path. I think in 2021, 22, with Chidobe Awuzie was playing maybe at the top of his career, and we'd put him on the best wide out and do things like that, where Mooney will certainly be able to do things like that. And, it just helps everybody out. The matchups are defined. We won't always do that, but his ability to, get on guys and be tight in coverage. And listen, it's the NFL; they're going to catch balls, but he'll be closer than most. So it's a really good piece to have.
With Zaire out right now, is there anything you try to do to speed up his learning process from an acceleration standpoint?
I mean, he's done great. He's done all the extra work with Coach Betch and those guys, their extra meetings, all that stuff. So he's got a great football mind, just sitting down as we sit and talk. And, again, another veteran guy that's been around. But just seeing how he approaches things, I'm not worried about where he'll be at mentally.
What are your expectations of Olatu? Year two, and again, a new system to some. What do you expect from him?
I just want him to play fast. I want him to. I was going to say his hair on fire, but his hair is different every day. So, but he's a great human. He wants to do well. He wants to be great. He's all about the right stuff, like a lot of our guys. And I think that I think every opportunity he gets out here will just increase his opportunities to make plays as we get into the fall. So being a great run defender, edge setter on first, second down, and then what ultimately those guys get paid for is rushing the quarterback.
Is it tough for a rookie to play fast?
I think it
You're thinking, I don't know.
a little bit, but over the course of the camp and from OTAs and on through the spring to now, those guys will hit the through preseason. Those guys will hit the ground running. I'm not worried about it.
Without Zaire in there, what opportunities that give you to evaluate the other linebackers?
Well, it's great. We didn't have JC in the spring either, so all those other guys got a bunch of different reps. So we feel like we got good depth there, and those guys know it. It's a great competition, for all those spots, and feel good about it.
What's the process like of looking for those young prospects that can help you in the kicking game, and does that tend to show up pretty early in camp?
Yeah, so we're going to be able to evaluate, and it's kind of a happy medium of like, okay, hey, how do we get everybody reps so everybody has a chance and can get evaluation, which is something we kind of work our way through. Like right now we can kind of get even though we're not in full pads, we can get a good evaluation of the guys that are fundamentally sound, that know how to do their job. And those are the guys that are usually going to start to get more and more reps as time goes on. Then we try to give everybody an opportunity once we get the pads on to see, okay, who can do their job, who can play fundamentally sound, who can be physical that we can then count on to make plays. A lot of that really good evaluation is going to come in the joint practice and in preseason games. Because in preseason games and joint practice, we're going to get a bunch of reps. They're going to be live. They're going to be pads on. And then we can roll through everybody. Like in a preseason game, we're going to play 50 guys on special teams. So that's a really good opportunity to see who can put it all together and be able to make a play. And that's where you can see, hey, who can flash and make some plays and then get some more opportunities to build off of it. So it's really just taking advantage of the opportunities as you get them. The biggest opportunities are going to come in those joint practice and preseason games. See who can flash and then get them more opportunities to see what they can do.
So the practice ends up probably being a little more fundamental for your guys, I guess. Would that be fair?
Especially right now without pads on, for sure. Yeah.
For the kickers, we're going to see some out here when it's open practice. Is there other stuff going on behind the scenes that you guys are evaluating too with Spencer and Maddox?
Yeah, we're going to try to get them to kick as much as we can in a team or live setting. Like yesterday, first day back, they kicked, we charted, and certainly watched it all. That wasn't in a team or live setting. That was in a pre-practice setting where we gave them a full script and certainly filmed it and evaluated it, and we're working with them on that. So there's plenty of times where we're going to kick individually or in pre-practice that will be scripted and evaluated, but the biggest time that they're going to be evaluated is when we go in a team setting, when we go in joint practice, when we go in preseason. That is truly an open competition, so we're trying to get those guys equal reps as much as we possibly can early on to see who can kind of take hold of that competition. There's really no timetable on that, but that's something we'll work on as we go throughout training camp to see who kind of takes the lead.
How do you balance the preseason games where you can't control how many kicks they're going to get in those games versus taking those as part of the evaluation?
That can be tricky at times because a lot of times in the past we'd say, hey, kicker A has the first half, kicker B has the second half. There may be no field goals in the first half. So in the first game, we'll probably give each one of them a half. If it's really stacked in one way or the other, then we'll try to even that out in the second game by allowing the kicker who hasn't had as many kicks to still stay live to get those kicks until they have tried to even some of that out. Depending on how the competition's going, if it's completely even, we'll try to even out those reps as best we can. But it can be difficult to make it purely even in a game setting.
What's the evaluation difference in the field goals and the PATs versus kickoffs for those guys?
So field goal PAT is certainly the number one part of the evaluation, so that's the first thing because we need to convert all scoring opportunities, so we're looking for who can be the most consistent and give us the best opportunity to convert as many scoring opportunities as we possibly can. Then, two would be their kickoff. And kickoff is going to be a lot more important this year, which we've talked about because we expect there to be more of an emphasis on forcing kicks this year based on them changing the touchback rule from the 30 to the 35. So we also anticipate needing to do a variety of different kicks. So having a kicker that has the ability to, on a very consistent basis, put it in the landing zone in a variety of different zones is going to be somebody that can add a little bit more to their resume in the competition. If the kicking competition and field goal is extremely close, then a differentiating thing could be, okay, who has a little bit more versatility and consistency in kickoff? We're looking, hey,
you can put it in this zone, within the landing zone, 9 out of 10 times. We're going to be really consistent. We can't afford to have a short kick in front of the 20-yard line because that's the same as kicking it out of bounds. That would go to the 40. So we need somebody that can be really consistent, putting a variety of different kicks in the different zones to make it a little bit harder on the return team and the returners to get to the ball, and who can be consistent doing that.
Shane mentioned this camp is going to involve a lot of like getting guys in quick, different, I guess like quick thinking in unique situations. How can you do that with your groups?
Well, we're always going to try to put them in as many different situations as we possibly can. A lot of the situational stuff we'll even do in walkthrough. So we'll do a lot of different situational stuff. We have 2 weeks until we play in a game, so they have to know every situation we possibly can come up within a game. So we'll go through walkthroughs and try to see who's really mentally sharp as we go through, backed up situation, take a safety situation. We get into the gray area versus the field. We have different alerts on the punt team in a lot of these different situations. So we put these guys in the situation, see who can understand and take the knowledge and stuff we've had from the meetings onto the field. So that's a really good time, like in walkthroughs where we'll challenge guys mentally. On the field, we're going to, there's sudden change situation stuff we'll bring up. But we're just looking at, when we go live, who can make really good decisions. They're going to be challenged because they're going to be tired. A lot of times when we get in special teams periods and kind of can react off of that.